All right. So if you didn't see the pinned comment message, I can't show you the episode because that's illegal to show the episode. So you're gonna have to BYOE, bring your own episode either on Paramount Plus. It is streaming on Paramount Plus. This episode is, or if you have a DVD, you can do that too, and stream it there. And I will have a timestamp uploaded on my right hand of my screen where you see the word question that right there. So I'll switch to another scene and you'll be able to see the timer, which is I had a hard time finding a timestamp to stream on Twitch, but we got it like an hour ago. I had one initially set up. It was trash. I went back to the link. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. Hey, audio is great. Visual is great. Let's go. What's up? Tori is awesome. All right, so if you see it on the screen, question for this episode, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Visitor. We are asking ourselves, what would you do if you lost someone through time? I'll let you guys answer in the comment while I give you my answer. If we're in the aspect of Star Trek, just staying in the parameters of Star Trek only, if I lost someone through time, of course we're going to try to figure out some way to use our good old starship to travel back in time and find them, even though, you have all the parameters that the Federation puts against time traveling. We're going to do it anyway, because that's what they always do in Star Trek. They always neglect the rules that we have for time traveling. Like Janeway says, she hates time traveling. She hates timeline incidences and everything like that. But if her crew was lost in time, she would go. I would go. I would figure out where they were, and I would try my hardest not to tamper with time itself, because that's a no-no. But definitely gonna drop back through time and find the one that I love, because it's usually a loved one that someone loses through time. I would do everything to find the person I lost in time. That's it. It really depends on the year too, because you can either get lost in the future or in the past. Do you guys remember that episode, First I Would Cry? Tori said, first I would cry, but I would definitely do anything to get them back. Absolutely. I feel like if we're in the parameters of Star Trek, I don't know if crying would be on the table, because it happens all the time in Star Trek. People get lost in time all the time in Star Trek. So more so, it's just a matter of how we're going to do it. Because it's not like we can't get them back. Unless there's an episode of a series that I've seen that I have yet to see on Star Trek where they didn't get someone back in when they were lost in time. But if that happened, I don't know how I would feel about that episode. But I don't think I would be as desperate if we're in the Star Trek area of losing someone through time, because all we have to do is figure out how to get them back and not lose ourselves in the process. So, all right, let's see. Gonna give it a few more minutes for some more people to pop on, and then we're gonna hop into the actual episode. And if you just popped on, it's bring your own episode. So find your episode on Paramount Plus, DVD, or wherever you can stream The Visitor. It is, what episode is this? This is season 4, episode 3 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So that's where you'll find it at. I am rewatching this episode because I started it and I watched it, I think, in April. It was the first week that The Last of Us season 2 series came out. So I was reacting to that TV show, The Last of Us season 2 episode 1, while I was watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So I had my whole setup. I had episode playing, and then I was trying to edit The Last of Us. And then this episode, The Visitor, came on. And as I was editing The Last of Us, I kind of stopped and I looked over at my screen and I said, The Visitor is actually a pretty good episode. I said, what is happening here? Then I saw Cisco get lost in time, and I was like, he's dead? And then Jake was crying, and Dax was, you'll see. And I said, this is a really good episode. First of all, I saw Tony Todd. And my sister and I have loved Tony Todd and just about everything, Candyman, Final Destination. So I saw him and I said, this is a really interesting episode, or it will be because he's in it. And so as I was editing slash watching, I stopped editing a little bit to watch the episode, but I didn't dive all the way into it as much as I could. So that's why I am rewatching The Visitor. Also, I have not finished the full series of Deep Space Nine, so no spoilers. Please, in the comments, do not spoil anything, because that would be wrong, and I will feel some kind of way about it. All right, let's give it 3 more minutes, and then we're gonna turn over to the live show. But how is everyone doing this afternoon? This is not afternoon. This evening. I'm doing pretty good. Did some work today. Set up this stuff for you guys and myself. All right, let's go ahead and hop on over. So pull up your screen. Pull up your TV show, your episode, and start it at 0:00. I will have a time popping up in just a minute. All right. We're about to get this started. All right, and we are starting now. The timer should be right there. Go ahead and start. Match it up to those seconds. All right, I am just like a second ahead of you guys, so if I accidentally mute the microphone somewhere along the line, let me know, because sometimes I accidentally mute the microphone unintentionally. And we're also going to stop like every 15 minutes just to give you guys a vibe check, but also to take a breather. And for those who are just watching the stream with me in this episode for the first time, I'll fill you guys in on some of the character stories as well as we go along. So guys, this is an older version of Jake Sisko, the son of Captain Sisko. And he is a writer. And she's just talking and he's just like, I'll give you a blanket and some tea, but he's not really interested in what she's saying. He sounded just like his father in that moment. This part is actually what had me intrigued by the episode and what caused me to stop editing on my other video. I said, what about today is so different than all the other days? All right, so we are on the theme song, the intro of the episode. Yes, you just prepare yourself because it's gonna get a little worse, Tori. It's gonna get a little worse. A lot of worse, actually. I take that back. I take that back. And what I love the most about this episode is seeing Tony Todd because again, I've always loved seeing him and everything, and he has a great way of being a scary kind of actor, but in a different episode or movie, you can see him like in this one being sympathetic and just showing a raw emotional side to himself. I just think he all around was a great actor. And he's done so many different things. Also, he played like five different characters in Star Trek that I know of. One of the things that I love most about Deep Space Nine is that they don't shy away from the hard topics, and that's one of the reasons why I actually wanted to watch this series after Voyager because I the first show that I ever watched of Star Trek was Star Trek Discovery. And in Star Trek Discovery, they don't shy away from the hard topics, emotional things. And so Deep Space Nine does that, and it's like on the same level. Okay, we're back at it. This woman is all up in his business. It's odd because the lady just chose to come out of her house or whatever and go to a strange man's home. Mind you, she didn't care if he was busy. Jake and Cisco's Benjamin's relationship as father and son is one of my favorite parts of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. They genuinely care for each other and want to be in each other's presence. Cisco also has a very calm demeanor about him that I love. And when the core blows, everybody blows. Blow up. Everyone blows up. What's so crazy to me is that the option to eject the warp core is always there, which ultimately saves everyone's lives, but somehow it can never be ejected. Whew. The way he said no. She was Benjamin's first officer, second in command of the whole station. Who was Cisco's best friend. I love that that Dax literally took time to take care of her best friend's son. Cork must be feeling really bad because he's never let anyone does anything for free, do anything for free, or at the expense of the bar. And everyone's trying to be there for him, but he just misses his dad. Man, that has to just uh has to just feel so horrible. They're abandoning station. And what I dislike so much about Jake losing Benjamin is that he literally has no other family members. His grandfather is on Earth, but he's still by himself on the space station. He said, "You should still go though, because it's bad out here in these space streets." He said, "I ain't gonna." News flash. He wouldn't go. I love how they all take care of him. Guess who's back again? And what has it been? I think a year? I love the optimism, but he really doesn't have a reason to be optimistic. Jake. Yes. That didn't do anything. Maybe you should have never been there. All right, guys, let's take a pause right here and pause. All right. How are we feeling right now on this 20-minute break? Not a 20-minute break, on this break of at 20 minutes. This episode is, as a lot of people have said, is a tearjerker, and I think because for I think the first time in Star Trek, at least to my knowledge, we are we are at a place where we can see a genuine family unit in Star Trek, and it's not just individuals on a spaceship doing their thing, trying to save the galaxy, meeting aliens, but we have a father and son who, yes, are doing those things, but they're family first. And then they are Starfleet. He's a Starfleet captain, and Jake's is just a person on the ship because he ain't got no job. He's an aspiring writer. And so, for the first time, we see a strong family unit. We see a father and a son who did lose a mom and who did lose a wife. And now they have made it past that grief of losing someone. I think it's been about almost a decade, I want to say, since they lost Jake's mom and Cisco's wife. And so they're past that form of grief, and they have grown stronger together. And now in this episode, we see that unit, that relationship that they've built, that bridge to hope that they've built in living a life past the loss of a loved one, to now it's all torn down. That bridge is now broken because Jake has lost his father. And so I think that's one of the things that makes this episode a little a lot deeper than the previous ones. We don't want to see what is, let's see. Tori says, I can't believe he basically lost his dad twice. I do love how they all look after him. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. I'm going to get back to that part. And so it's a little bit more devastating to have Jake lose Cisco after that, him being the only thing that they had, and us as the audience knowing that Jake and Cisco are strong together. They love each other. They're there for each other. They will do anything for each other. And now that's torn apart. I love how each and every single person on that ship says, I'm going to watch out for Jacob. I'm going to watch out for Jake Cisco because he is part of our family. I think it's the love the love that they've always had for Jake. I love to see that transcend past not having Jake's father, the captain of the station, there anymore. And you can see in this moment that they've always loved Jake, and this was their time to follow through on that love, and they did it. And every person stepped up. Every person extended their love and their grace, even Quark. And Quark is just, he's a Ferengi, so he is naturally stingy and inconsiderate. And even in that frame of who he is, he still showed some sense of concern and consideration by letting them use the holosuite. All right, guys, let's get back to it. All right, let me make sure the clock is synced up. All right, and press play. I'm still confused as to how she decided to come to this strange man's house. Just because she liked his books. It's basically harassment. Borderline harassment. I'm just saying. That's wild. And the wormhole is like the biggest thing to have control over, and they had to give it over to the Klingons. I love the grandfather. He's a cool man. A bit stubborn, but cool nonetheless. I love that transition. He looked, and there she was. Hey. Everything about Nog being in the Federation, I love. My father. Morn is a mess. Nog has gotten eloquent in the future years. Unasked, she came. Hey, you don't want to stop. Wait, she's Bajoran. I didn't notice that the first time. His wife is Bajoran. I didn't notice that. I feel like having Tony Todd in this story just adds a sense of warmth to the episode as well. Yeah, girl. That's sad. Last time he saw Jake, he was 19 years old. Cisco is taking this in stride, and I would be freaking out. Really wouldn't be much of a cover design if it's limited to that small screen. Come on, Jake, don't do this. No. Jake's like, that's not enough. Sup, Tunk Nasty 104. Hello. We're rewatching Star Trek Deep Space Nine: The Visitor. It's bring your own episode. Exactly. I wonder why there's such a gap in between when. Uh, he became dedicated. I think a good question to ask is, what not only what would you do if you lost someone through time, but Would you eventually give up after a long period of time after not finding your lost one through time? Let's go, Nog. He looks good in the captain's chair. I actually really like the makeup on everyone. Deep Space Nine. I do love how they all came back to help bring their captain back home. Let's go. Let's see if they can do it. How are we feeling in the comments? I'm feeling hopeful. All right, hopeful it is. It's been a long time. 14 years? Feeling hopeful for sure. We're watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 4 on Paramount Plus. No, Season 4, Episode 3 on Paramount Plus. I've seen this episode before, but I'm rewatching it because I didn't give it full attention. You're welcome. He said she's gone. He's trying to find you. How are we feeling now? This woman literally came to this man's house, stayed overnight to listen to his stories without ever being asked to come, mind you. Yes, tears, Tori, tears. She is still there. Nah, girl. Everything went wrong. I wonder if this is all just speculation. That's right, Melanie. He's such a kind man, just as kind as the teenage Jake Sisko. She finally left. And I think as much as he tried to live his life, he just couldn't. Not without thinking of his father and the life that he was no longer living. That's the baseball. His dad's baseball. Oh, And Benjamin just wants him to live his life. Imagine the pain that Jake's been carrying with him. I think I said that earlier, but it's just, he's going through a lot. And you can hear the clock in the background ticking as if time is running up or running out. Yeah, because he was just a kid. He's trying to save his dad. That's why he's doing this. All for a second chance, yeah. A second chance they very well needed. And so Cisco has all those memories of his son growing up without him. And this, guys, is why this episode is timeless. Pun intended. Pun definitely intended. So, what did you guys think of the episode? Tori says, "Oh my gosh, this episode was so good. I felt all the emotions. The emotions, yes, they were raw and they were felt. I think everything about this episode just showcases the great qualities of Deep Space Nine. You have all of the family oriented feels going on. You have each person on the space station showing their love for Jake and for Cisco. They're working as a family and they were also working as a team to try to bring Cisco back. I just love this episode. I love seeing Tony Todd. I liked seeing Jake fight for his dad because we always see Cisco fight for Jake, and so it was nice to see Jake fight for his dad. And Cisco kept saying, you know, you didn't have to do this for me, but it was always going to be for him. Tunk says the last couple of minutes he saw really showed him the relationship they have between each other. And it was a really strong relationship because they had no one else but each other. And so Jake said, I'm not just gonna leave my dad out there. I'm gonna fight for him so we can have a second chance. And that's what I love the most about this episode. Jake didn't quit. Jake didn't quit. And the reason why earlier I said a better question would be not to ask What would you do if you lost someone through time? But would you stop looking for someone that's been lost through time after 10 years, 5 years? I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't stop. I saw Quantum Leap, not the older show, but the most recent show. And one of the characters' husbands got lost. No, her fiance got lost in space. And after a year, she gave up. After a year, she gave up looking for her fiance. And that was wild to me because why would you just give up after a year? And then not only did she give up after a year of looking for her fiance, she was already dating somebody else. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. So no, I would not stop looking. Even after 10 years. Even after 10 years. Maybe moved on a little bit, but not stop looking. What would you guys do? Would you stop looking after 10 years? We're going to cap it at that number. Tori says, nah, she didn't really love him, LOL. Which is, I think, was bad writing. Even after 10 years, you wouldn't stop. Is that what you're saying? Took Nasty 104? I think it was bad writing for Quantum Leap. Absolutely. Because the first season, the girl was in love with him. Okay, yes, Tunk says that he would not stop looking after 10 years. I think just continuously looking, even if you have moved on after 10 years, is a good thing. But Quantum Leap, I think it was just poor writing because in the first season, Ben and I don't remember the other lady's name, they were this. They were soon to be married. They were in love with each other. Everything was fine and dandy. And then he gets lost in time. And as soon as a year goes on, she's like, I'm not going to look for you, as well as I'm going to date someone else. Doesn't make sense. All right, let's get to these discussions, these questions over here. Did Jake make the right choice in the end? Yes. I don't even think this one's up for debate. Tori says, I will keep looking even after 10 years. That love will never go away. No, it will never go away, and it shouldn't go away. And like I said, if you want to move on by dating someone or getting remarried after 10 years, but you continue to look for that person, that's acceptable. I think that's acceptable. But the search should never end, in my opinion. And that's my opinion. But I do think Jake made the right choice in the end. I genuinely don't know if he could spend the remainder of his years living with himself should he not have found a way to save his father. And I'm glad that he, in the end, did find a way to save his father because, like he said, it gave them all a second chance for a happier life. Okay, so one of the things about Star Trek is that some of the episodes are, even though there's an ensemble cast, some of the episodes specifically are on one specific person. I feel like Jake is the hero. Jake is the hero. Absolutely. Jake is the hero because just letting time move on as it is and not trying to make a change is just accepting what the world was giving to him. But he chose to be proactive and he chose to make a difference. This is Jake's story and he is the hero in his story. And so was this episode Cisco's episode or Jake's episode? And what I mean by this question is, well, I guess what I'm saying is I think that a story can be told from both perspectives. Is that while Jake was living his life, it was a life of pain, of agony, of devastation, of having lost his father. And with Cisco, it was a life that he lived of seeing someone else's, his son's life go on and him not be a part of that life. And so I think that was devastating for him, is that he was living his life in minutes, and his son was living his life in decades. His son grew up to be the writer he always wanted to be. His son grew up and got married. His son grew up and went back home to Louisiana. But all while Cisco saw his son living a relatively good life, his son wasn't living a happy one. It was a life of contentment because he did become that writer. He did get married, but he wasn't happy because he didn't have his father. And so in a sense, it is both their episodes because there's a story and something to be said from both of them. And last but not least, Tony Todd. What was the first thing I've ever seen Tony Todd play in? I want to say the second Final Destination movie where he played the mortician. Yeah, the Undertaker. I think he played the Undertaker. And so I saw him in that, and then I saw him in Candyman. So maybe it was Candyman, then Final Destination. I don't know. But I think Tony Todd made this episode, excuse me, I think he made this episode all the more astounding and all the more graceful. Tony Todd did an excellent job, Tori. Yes, he did. He did a fantastic job. He brought a grace to the screen for this episode. He delivered his lines with such empathy and elegance, and I think it was done beautifully. Yes, Tony Todd movies are great. Took Nasty 104, they are great. And like I said earlier, Tony Todd can play a mysterious, suspenseful villain, and he can also play a really decent good guy. Oh my gosh, him and Bloodlines, it was great. It was great. His performance in there was great because it was like a send off too, as well. Because that was his, I think, his last movie before he passed away. And so my sister and I, we enjoyed seeing Tony Todd give a final hooray. I think that's how you say, and Final Destination Bloodlines, which is a great movie. Go watch it. Like, how are you gonna walk off like that? Yeah, he just walked off. But he did great in here. He did great in here. I think that's one of the things that I like the most about this episode is just seeing him on the screen because his voice, that low vibrato that he has going on with his voice, even when he's in tears, it just brings so much emotion to the story. It was great. It was great. I enjoyed it. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up soon. But let me know in the comments. Would you like for me to react to an episode live here on Twitch that I've never seen of Star Trek? Or, yeah, let's go with Star Trek for right now. Is there any episode of Star Trek that you want me to see that I have never reacted to before? Because I didn't get all emotional on this one because I've seen it before. But believe you me, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening at all. But I think reacting to an episode I've never seen before is going to give you a bit more of that raw emotions from me. So let me know in the comments if you want me to react to an episode of Star Trek I've never seen before. Because right now we're in the Dominion Wars part of Star Trek. I'm on season 6, episode 7, I want to say. So a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are happening. Okay. Tori says she would love to see me react to a new episode. Okay, just know that because we're in the Dominion Wars, which is a war against another species of aliens from the Gamma Quadrant, I will be yelling at the screen. I will be yelling at the screen. So, turn down the volume because it's going to get wild. All right, Tunk says yes. He loved that too. All right. I got to see which episode it's going to be because, yes, I'll be just like that, yelling at the screen. You see the emoji from Tunk. I will be yelling like that. Okay. All right. You asked for it. I literally, the other day, I was watching one episode of Star Trek and I had to jump up out of my seat, off my couch, and yell at the screen because it just wasn't making any sense. Just wasn't making any sense. But thank you guys for joining me on this episode. This was my first reaction that I've done live before. And so, yeah, that's exactly how it is. This is my first reaction to doing a live watch along for you guys on Twitch, and I think it went pretty well. It was pretty fun to watch this show with you guys live and get your comments live as well. So I'll definitely be doing more of these watch alongs. Also, I'll probably be doing some more gameplay as well because I do games, I do reactions, and I do reviews. Thank you, Tunk, for saying it was a great vibe. Definitely great vibes all around. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok where I will give you guys more live content. So, whenever I watch an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine or any trailer or TV show like that, I usually do some quick reactions that are about 1 to 2 minutes long. And then I send it to you guys on TikTok so we can have conversations over there as well. All right, Tori says she wants more gameplay. I can make that happen. Right now, I'm playing Mafia, and that game is a little frustrating because I'm playing on the classic mode. And it's a little hard. It's very hard. I turned off my computer. Not my computer, my PlayStation 5 yesterday because that's how hard the game was. But I'm playing Mafia right now, so I'll probably do some gameplay for that soon. But yeah, don't forget to follow me on YouTube for longer reactions that also includes the actual episodes. Follow me on TikTok, and I also have a Patreon account. I am playing GTA 6 once it drops. Let me see. I don't know if I'll be playing GTA 6 once it drops. Sometimes I like to play newer games without going onto the screen because sometimes I feel like that's more immersive. But we'll see. I'm definitely excited for GTA 6. GTA 5 was really good. It was a crazy ride for sure because of Trevor, but I really enjoyed GTA 5 and I definitely will be playing GTA 6 and I might play some GTA 5 online on Twitch too. So, maybe that'll happen. But GTA 6 is definitely going to be a purchase of mine. Absolutely. People are saying that they hope it doesn't get delayed again, and I also hope it doesn't get delayed again. But this was fun, guys. If you don't know who I am Milky Way Flyer giving you a galaxy of games, reactions, and reviews. And I will see you guys in the next stream, reaction video, YouTube video, TikTok video. All right. See you guys later. Have a great evening, morning, noon, night, thingy. Peace.